Hi guys, I'm Linda.
I'm Margie.
I'm Keith.
And we are Partners in Crime. All right, so today we want to do an update for the Vallow case. There were some hearings that were held this week, and we wanted to just cover that a little bit. The judge in Fremont County, we were talking about Fremont County. Is he the judge, I believe?
That's where the case is being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Fremont County.
Yeah. There was a new motion by the prosecutor to allow Rachel Smith onto the case so she could be a deputy prosecuting attorney by some, I don't know, this pro hoc vice, that's what they brought her on with. And so the judge approved that. There was just a few things that they wanted to make sure that she had an existing law practice, and I think that was basically the only thing the judge wanted.
They had to have some approval of Fremont County. They were talking about how she's going to get paid.
Right.
And, yeah.
And we had Mark Means and John Pryor, I guess, saying that they objected to the fact that she was being brought on.
It was actually the judge that brought up the two things. And then John Pryor kind of echoed it, saying, yeah, right?
Right, yeah.
It was the two things, whether you had an existing law practice in another county or another state.
Another state, because she's in Missouri.
Right.
Yeah.
And then whether the Fremont County, because it's an elected, the prosecutor is an elected position,
Official,
right?
yes.
And then so they needed to have approval of Fremont County, and basically who's going to pay for this.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So John Pryor said to the judge when he was able to voice his concerns, it wasn't very nice. I mean, I don't know what you guys thought, but he said, "You are astute enough to recognize the two things I find problematic." Like, the judge was very, I'm sure he hears this kind of stuff
it was a little bit of
from lawyers all the time.
Like patting them on the head.
Yeah, what we're going to say.
Judge, you addressed the very issues that I had concerns with as well. You were astute enough to recognize the two things that I find problematic. One, that this is a Fremont County case. And as a Fremont County case, Mr. Wood, obviously, if his prosecutor's office wants to retain people to help him with his caseload, he has every right to seek whatever resources he wants to do that. And he can obviously hire anybody he wants. He's the chief prosecutor in Madison County. But this court identified the very issue of the pro hoc rule, and the pro hoc rule is case specific. And as a case specific rule, he does not get to enlarge, retain someone and say, you're going to handle all of my cases, and you're going to train my staff, and you're going to teach us how to properly prosecute cases. That's not something that he's prevented from doing. But in this particular case, he's prevented from having Ms. Smith participate unless Fremont County gives them their blessing.
We're definitely complaining about paying for Ms. Smith through Fremont County, and Rob Wood said that she is not being paid from Fremont County. So prosecutors do have a lot of money that they can put towards prosecuting a case. So we don't know exactly how she's going to get paid, but he has the means for it, which is why he brought her on. And he also, it was really, they were talking about how she also, I apologize, John Pryor was saying that he was doing research on Rachel Smith and didn't see that she actually had an existing
law practice.
Yeah, there you go.
We can go down this road. The other issue I have is this, Judge. I've done some research on Ms. Smith, and the information I have, and I don't want to suggest that my information is complete, but the information I have is that she's a consulting firm and that she does not have an active practice. Now, she's licensed in Missouri, but I need some sort of declaration from Ms. Smith saying, yes, I'm actually practicing law in the state of Missouri. And if she does that, then that issue is resolved. If she has an active law practice in Missouri, by all means, let's move forward. But those are the two things that I think we need to resolve before this court even considers signing an order. So my suggestion at this point, Judge, is Mr. Wood filed a supplemental information from Fremont County saying they're okay with this. Ms. Smith filed a supplemental declaration saying, I am licensed, practiced in Missouri, and I have an active law practice, whether that's criminal defense, whether that's prosecutorial work, whatever the nature of that practice is. And those issues are resolved at this point. And then obviously, if Mr. Wood wants to bring in someone to assist him or needs help in how to prosecute a case of this nature, by all means, he has every right to do that. But those two.
And then it was really funny because you saw Rob Wood look over to the side, and the judge then said, we need you to sign something or send us something saying that she does have an existing practice. And Rob Woods just said, well, you can ask her, she's right here.
Yes, Your Honor. As the appointed special prosecutor, I'm allowed to prosecute this case as I see fit. I'm not asking Fremont County for the money to hire Ms. Smith. And as such, I don't think the court needs to make a finding that I've gotten it approved for the Fremont County Commissioners. If I were, I'm not being compensated for this case. If we were asking them for money, I could see that being an issue. We're not. So we're fine with an order limiting her admission to this case. I actually have Ms. Smith is here with me right now. I can have her make a declaration to the court of her law practice, or if the court would prefer that in writing, we can do that as well.
Well, if she's here and available to testify, I think that's probably the most efficient way to do that. Good afternoon, Ms. Smith. This is Judge Boyce. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right. I've considered the application for pro hac vice admission. Prosecutor indicates you'd be willing to make a statement to testify in this hearing regarding your qualifications. Are you prepared to do that?
Absolutely.
All right. If you would do me the favor then of raising your right hand, I'll have the clerk please place Ms. Smith under oath.
And the look on the other two faces were like, oh, okay, so we can't delay this any longer.
Right.
And yes, it was a pretty interesting hearing. That was like one of the
mic drop
highlights.
Moment. Yeah.
And then Mark Means, after all of this, also filed some motions to complain like he always does. He said the prosecution is putting the cart before the horse. Anticipating the
murder,
the charges that will be eventually charged to Lori and Chad. And he also said some words to the effect that Rob Woods is bringing in a pinch hitter, and if he can't handle it, he shouldn't be on the case and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So,
he was saying this should be brought back to Fremont County, the Fremont County prosecutor, which he's already multiple times has tried to get Rob Wood knocked off the case, right?
Right. Yeah, and the reason why we were just discussing before we went on, the reason why it's in two counties is because Fremont County is where the children were found. That's where Chad lives, and Monroe County is actually where Lori lived. So Madison, I apologize. Yeah. Madison County is where Lori actually lived. So that's why both counties are involved in this. So, so we just wanted to bring that update to you. It's pretty funny. Anything else you guys wanted to?
Well, as we were watching it was the March 22nd hearing about the Rachel Smith bringing her on. And then, the body language of the people can be subtle in ways, but it's so incredible that you get to watch this. You get to watch these guys.
The fact that we get to see this and see how it actually happens.
I mean, you hear the words, and then there's the body language, right? That and that can change things. How you hear and see things. That's all.
Yeah,
It's just-
especially for jury when you're actually
absolutely,
in court. So,
absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
Because they're watching everything, I would imagine. I haven't been on a jury, but you're watching the prosecutor, you're watching the defense lawyers, right? You're just watching everything. So any little thing, that's why they are so animated most of the time, and why it's kind of like a they're playing a part. They have to be bigger than
Well,
life
and they can
sometimes.
also be very subdued, especially if they're, being accused of something. They can also act very subdued, and then you may be watching them in anticipation for something to happen.
Right. Yeah. So pretty interesting stuff, and we will bring you more updates as they come, because there's no dull moments in this case. So yeah. So that's all we have for the updates, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.